Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gabby and I am both a destination wedding planner for adventurous couples and a Pinterest marketing strategist. So we've actually grown our own wedding planning account on Pinterest. It drives about 1,200 people to our website every month right now. And it's one of my biggest kind of organic, actually it's the biggest traffic driver to our website in an organic way. And personally, I have a degree in marketing, so I love teaching other wedding pros how to use Pinterest as a marketing tool, right? And it's completely free. Obviously, you have to spend time on it or hire somebody like us who can really help you grow strategically. So on this channel, I share both Pinterest content and a little bit of behind the scenes of our wedding planning business. Now, we have not done a wedding since March 14th, 2020. And we are now end of April. We're getting ready. We're gearing up for our first wedding in over a year, and it's happening in May. We're gonna be at Zion Under Canvas, which is one of my all-time favorite places. If you guys have followed us at all on Instagram with my wedding planning account, which I will link here, you know that these adventure weddings, glamping weddings are totally my jam. So anyway, we're so happy to be back to our old stomping ground. Today we are here to talk about Pinterest and specifically Pinterest followers. I want to talk about followers on Pinterest, right? There's a lot of talk about, are they important? Are they not important? And we're going to dive into that a little bit. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to share with you a few tips on how to get more followers if you think that is a strategy that's going to work for you, or if you don't want to bother with followers, how can you create content that is still highly shared and that still drives traffic to your website? Because either route is great, you guys. I think there are definitely perks to getting new followers on Pinterest, but by no means is it mandatory to be very successful on the platform. But before we get to that, I want to be sure to show you a little bit of our wedding behind the scenes stuff. Now, we haven't done an actual wedding, like I said, but we do have a small arch and chuppah company that we have here in Nashville and in Los Angeles. And my husband has handmade these arches, and we've been getting requests for these deliveries and for these arch setups. So I'm going to take you a little bit behind the scenes on what it looks like to have that and to feel like we're back in the wedding planning world again. And then we will dive into Pinterest followers. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't say this when I posted this story on Instagram, but what actually happened is we got this request for delivery, and the day before the delivery of the arch, we realized we were missing significant amounts of legs and side pieces. And what happened is we had left some of them back in LA, and for some reason we had only brought a little bit. So here we are, Chris and I are like pedal to the metal. We made it happen and it all turned out beautiful. You'll see here in a second, but oh my gosh, we have to make sure we check on our arches at least a few days before it's time for delivery. Now, this beautiful wedding took place at the Cedars of Lebanon State Park. So within the state park itself, there's this like beautiful little lodge area. So first step is, of course, we've got to unload, and Chris and I are always all about giving ourselves tons of time to arrive, to figure out what the parking situation is. I think we have PTSD from doing deliveries in LA, but this was such an easy load in and load out. We just literally placed everything down on the grass, and Chris is like the master of assembly. He's done this so many times, and I'm just there to help him and hand him pieces and be his assistant. we call our dark wood chuppah. It's our original design, and for those of you who don't know, a chuppah, and I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing it correctly, I've heard hoopah, I've heard chuppah. The chuppah is a traditional Jewish ceremony arch, basically. It requires 4 poles, and for a lot of Jewish weddings, there would be 4 men who would actually hold the poles up. But in our case, we make it self-standing with these little boxes, but it's used in both Jewish ceremonies now and non-denominational ceremonies. People really like the simple design of this arch. So once the arch is assembled, we tippy-toe it all the way over to the center of the altar, basically, or where the aisle will be. And this, it's always a little bit of a challenge setting up an arch outside because you don't know how level the ground is going to be. So we want to give ourselves time, and we bring little sandbags that we put to weigh things down. And here we're just kind of finding rocks and pieces of wood to level it out. But luckily the planners here are going to put some cute little decor items in front, and we'll show you just in a second what the final look looks like. Okay, here it is fully assembled before decorating it. Now, we don't decorate it, that's up to the florist and planners, but take a look at what it looks like fully decorated. All right, let's talk about followers on Pinterest, right? I think a lot of us maybe have heard that followers don't really matter on Pinterest, and I would be inclined to continue to say that is true, but I do want to bring attention to followers a little bit more now just because of the new algorithm changes that Pinterest has. And we'll talk a little bit about how to get new followers, or if you don't want to worry about them, can your strategy still be successful? The answer is yes, and I'm going to show you how. So overall, Pinterest works as a search engine, and what that means is the behind the scenes of your photo is going to be really important when it's getting keyworded on Pinterest. So that means the pin description, the title, the relevant board you're putting it in, and also just the look of the image overall, right? And so once that is properly categorized, properly keyworded, a user can go on Pinterest, search the keyword, and your photo can pop up. Now, that does not have anything to do with followers. But if you want to really expand your growth on Pinterest or expand your audience in order to show up in people's feeds regularly, and if you don't know, I think there's like some saying where you have to show up like 7 times before someone finally realizes you exist, right? In the marketing world. So if you think about that, how often can we get in front of our audience, right? Well, if they're following us, we are now popping up in their feed when they open their app in the morning. So in general, no, you do not need a lot of followers to grow on Pinterest. That being said, the new algorithm changes that happened in 2020 are really, like, we can see as users and content creators, we can see that Pinterest is really encouraging users to follow us. So here's an example. Story pins, right? So if you didn't watch my other video, I will link it in the cards up here. But story pins is basically the Instagram story version of Pinterest, but they live on forever. They don't expire after 24 hours. They live forever, which is awesome. But there's no way to connect a website to a story pin. So users cannot click out of the Pinterest platform via a story pin. Instead, what Pinterest did is they automatically build in a final slide at the end of your story pin, and they have your profile photo, your username, your bio, and it's clickable. So they're encouraging users to go and click on your profile and follow you. So that was really interesting to me because at first I think the reaction is like, oh my God, I'm not going to use story pins. They're not even clicking out to a website. Well, at some point in time, Pinterest is going to have to make money by keeping users on their platform, right? They have to show users different ads and they want to keep them on longer. So their solution was to encourage businesses like ourselves to create content via story pins. Now, the cool thing about story pins though is it is highly shared on Pinterest. So you're going to see a lot more impressions. You're going to see it possibly show up on as featured on the Today tab if you hit any of the top trends. There's just a lot of cool opportunities with story pins, and the fact that they live on your platform forever or on your profile is also really interesting. Now, are there actual perks to having more followers, right? If I'm saying, yeah, you can still be successful without having a bunch of followers on Pinterest, what are the actual perks of having followers? Well, one of the things is that obviously, like I mentioned, your content is going to show up in their feed several more times than you would if they're just organically searching for your pin or searching for a keyword and then your pin shows up. So you've got more eyes on your content. And not only that, but it's encouraging people to interact with your content more. So for example, story pins, Pinterest wants the users to do the emoticons, right? Give it a heart, give it a light bulb, which is a good idea. Give it a star, so they want people to comment and to engage a little bit more with these types of, this type of content that we're putting out. Yeah, getting more followers is promoting your content and putting it out there to these same eyeballs a little bit more. Now, also, it's encouraging those users to share that pin, to save it to their board, to send it to a friend, whatever that is, and therefore spreading it out to the great wide world of Pinterest. Okay, so let's say you're ready to get more followers. What are some ideas on how to get more followers? Well, the first thing, and what Pinterest always says, is it's important to create inspiring content. And they've come out and they've really said, like, hey, we want to be the platform that is the most positive, the most inspiring. And I would agree. I think it is, right? People are not negative on Pinterest. They're only sharing ideas and inspiring content. And Pinterest responds, and really promotes that type of content. Something you can do is, and this works whether you have a lot of followers, you want to get followers, or even if you do not, this is what the Pinterest algorithm wants, is to create inspiring content. So for us, that means story pins that show maybe behind the scenes, or great wedding inspiration ideas, or maybe it's a quick how-to video pin on how to make, I just made one recently, how to make your own napkin rings. Or maybe it's just a beautiful pin with text overlay that encourages users to get new ideas on your blog post. So whatever that is for you, when you think about Pinterest, you have to think of it as being creating inspirational content. That's what the platform wants to see. And in return, they've honestly promoted a lot of those, or boosted a lot of those pins for a larger audience to see. And from there, you tend to get a lot of more followers. Now, another way to get more followers is really using their new features, right? So that specific feature that I'm talking about is story pins. And I will tell you, personally, I started creating story pins, I would say maybe 6 months ago, and we get daily new followers. Like, so it's maybe only like 4 or 5 a day, but you guys, that grows really fast. We're at like 8,300 followers. And when I started my Pinterest journey, I think I had maybe like 1,000. And then I really put work into growing my audience, getting more reach. And we grew that number very quickly. So really using Pinterest's features is encouraging them to boost you as a creator. And at first, I'll be honest, I would see something like 99 new followers. And I was like, that's a lot of new followers in one day. Is this spam? Like, a lot of them didn't have photos on it. A lot of them didn't have any content. But I did some research. I asked fellow Pinterest strategists, and turns out Pinterest is actually, like I said, boosting or promoting our our profile to new users. So if they have accounts that they feel are inspirational, that is using their features, they're going to show that profile to users that just sign up to the platform for the first time. So it makes sense if they don't have a photo yet. It makes sense if they don't have a lot of content, but they might follow us for the look of what we have to share and the inspiring content we have on our page. Now, the last suggestion I had for you to grow more, to get more followers on Pinterest is a specific tool. So it's called Milo Tree, and I will link it down below. You get a free trial. It is my affiliate link, so I will get, I think I get either a commission or I get a free month or something like that. But basically what it is it's a pop-up that goes onto your website, and you can control what pages it goes on or how long it pops up for. And it is literally just a little banner of this pop-up, and it features your Pinterest account. So to me, this is really actually interesting, and it's a good strategy because I know if people are going to my website, they're liking the content, right? They're going to my website for a reason. They're already interested in my wedding planning services. And now they see my little Pinterest pop-up show up, and they're more inclined to follow for more ideas and inspiration. I really recommend that tool. I've been using it for a few months, and we've gotten, I think we get dozens of new followers per day. I think we've gotten up to like 100 something per month. It's really actually super helpful and a really great tool. So I'd encourage you to try that. And I think once the free trial's over, it's about $9 a month. So not a ton. And all that to say, do you actually really need all this to be successful on Pinterest? I will say no. I will say no, but I will say that getting more followers will certainly give you a boost, right? It will help your content get spread a little bit faster. But that's not to say I think you should still make it your priority to focus on putting out really great content that is keyworded properly. Don't go chasing followers if you are at the very beginning stages of your Pinterest journey. Instead, really focus on putting really great content out there and being consistent with it on the platform first. And then we can talk about growing your followers. But I do think it's actually the direction that Pinterest is going in. They want to have a little bit more of the social media-ness to their platform. So keep it in mind, keep it on the back burner for now if you're not ready for it yet. But if you are ready, check out some links down in the description below, and feel free to ask me questions about this, or if you found another great way to get followers on Pinterest, definitely please comment. I'm always looking for new suggestions and new tips and tricks. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you come out of this understanding, I guess, why followers are important or why you feel like you maybe don't need them. And I really believe that you, as of now, you do not need followers on Pinterest, but certainly Pinterest is pushing people to follow accounts. So yeah, I encourage you to dabble in some of these tips and tricks and see what is gonna work for you. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. It really helps out my small channel, and be sure to give me a follow or a subscribe if you haven't already here on YouTube, and I will catch you next week. Bye.